Our first presenter, Hannah Betty de Moica. Please come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Betty de Moica. I am part of Dr. Francis's lab, and today we'll be talking about the biocontrol capacity of local Streptomyces bacteria against carrot cavity spot. So first, let's talk about the importance of carrots. Carrots are one of the most widely grown vegetables worldwide. The U.S. is the fourth largest producer, growing about 1.4 million tons. Out of that, 85% of those carrots are coming from California, bringing in a whopping $1.67 billion in 2023. That brings us to the heart, Kern County, where carrots are one of our #1 producers. They were ranked number 5 overall in Kern County's 2023 value report and was the first vegetable listed. Kern County is the #1 carrot producer here in U.S., bringing in a whopping $858 million to the local economy. I mean, wouldn't you say like that is a huge impact for us here in Kern County? Now, all great things have an end. Now, not a complete end, but they do have some difficulties, and that's with their disease threats. Here are some like root knot nematodes, leaf blight, and black root rot caused by some of the species here listed. These are only a few diseases that carrots are impacted by, causing yield loss, poor quality, and difficult harvest. One that I would like to focus on here is carrot cavity spot. Carrot cavity spot is attacked by the mature roots. Well, it attacks mature carrot roots by these sunken lesions that you can see here pointed to with the arrow. They are not harmful to eat. However, if you look, they are just a little ugly. So it reduces market value. They can't sell them. They're sent off to cattle and donkeys and cows and sent out to juicing. However, you cannot make as much profit off of that. So it's affecting growers financially. However, it is also affecting food production. It's hard to detect early as it affects the grown root. So you can't tell until until you harvest. That's 16 weeks. 16 weeks of hard dedication, growing these carrots, all to find out that your whole field is trash due to Pythium. Pythium is the pathogen that is causing carrot cavity spot. It belongs to a group of oomycetes. Oomycetes aren't a true fungus. They're a water mold. They live in soil where it thrives in cool, wet environments. They spread through their spores where they can swim through the water to attack the carrot and cause the cavity spot. Now, of course, carrots are very important to us. We need to find a way to put a halt to this. Our #1 answer right now is a fungicide. A fungicide, if you're not aware, it's kind of like a pesticide, but instead of attacking insects, we're going after the fungus. This fungicide is called Ridamil Gold, where it holds chemicals such as mefenoxamine, metolexyl M, which are very harsh chemicals, and they target Pythium. However, it is becoming inconsistent. Other microbes in the ground are eating the chemical, breaking it down, and Pythium is now becoming resistant. If I am only feeding it this one toxin to kill it, it is going to find a way to override it to continue to grow, and that is what it has been showing to do. Another way to control Pythium is crop rotation. We switch the crops, so rather than growing carrots, we can grow potatoes or onions because Pythium is specifically attacking the carrots. Now, this is not putting a halt to Pythium. It is not killing it and letting the carrots grow. However, it's just putting a cap on how many microbes are there in that soil. So it's not a fix. However, it's just limiting what's going on. So we're looking for a better solution. These results are inconsistent. Pythium is still causing cavity spot farmers are still, their fields are still being impacted. We need a new approach. We need something that is gonna attack Pythium differently. So that way it's not using the same contact that the Ridamil did, because then it will continue to become resistant. We need a new way to impact it. We also want soil stability. So we want this to continue to happen. We don't want them to become resistant. We don't want them to do that, because then we're going to have to continue to find new ones. We're going to have to continue to do research and pour money into it. So if we can find a good, sustainable way to control Pythium, that is the best option, of course. And we would also like an organic compatibility, because if we want to use this in organic fields, we can't expose it to fungicide. Those chemicals are harsh. That if you go to the store and you're looking for organic vegetables, how would you feel if you found out that your vegetables are contacted with these harsh chemicals, these pesticides, these fungicides? That's not what you're seeking. So we need to find an organic way. And that's how we are introducing our biocontrol. We use beneficial microbes like Streptomyces to fight pathogens like Pythium violi naturally. Now, what's Streptomyces? Streptomyces is part of the healthy soil ecosystem. Streptomyces can fight Pythium through competition and through its antimicrobials, that is a way it naturally fights pathogens. It does so through its natural antimicrobials that it produces, that it secretes out, which we also use in antibiotics. Streptomyces antimicrobials are used in medicine and agriculture for its disease-fighting properties, which makes it a promising biocontrol tool. What we know so far: multiple Streptomyces strains were tested against Pythium. Here we have strains 46, 72, 83, and 150 that have shown clear zones of inhibition. I'm going to step away from the mic, but I'm loud. If you look here, we have a plate of just Streptomyces. You can see clear complete growth. If you observe the other images, you can see there's another species there. This species is releasing those antimicrobials to suppress it and push Pythium away. It's like, oh no, it's coming too close. It's going to harm me. So what it does is it pushes it back. It pushes it away. You can see that some of these zones of inhibition are larger. So that means these Streptomyces are a lot stronger compared to the other ones. So they do produce stronger antimicrobials. Now, that is listed in the lab. We've seen this done on plates. That is very different from going into the field and applying it there. Now that comes to our research goals. We would like to build towards a biocontrol. We want to do so in order to get to this biocontrol assay, there are two portions. First, we need to make sure that Streptomyces are safe. Are they causing any harm to the carrot at any stage? Is it making it stunt its growth? Is it actually a pathogen towards the carrot as well? Is it causing any harm, whether it's germination, full growth, whatever the case may be? We need to ensure that it's not. How am I going to use something to protect you, but it's harming you? So first, we need to clear that up. Also, at the same time, we need to do a pathogenicity assay where we ensure that we consistently get Pythium to create that carrot cavity spot within the lab. We have two methods to get this done, method A and method C, which we'll talk about a little bit more. Once we can get the Streptomyces validation in the pathogenicity assay, we can combine those together to have our biocontrol assay where we test Streptomyces against Pythium to ensure that Streptomyces can stop it in the field. First, let's talk about our Streptomyces treatment. Testing Streptomyces for safe use for a carrot. Before using Streptomyces, we have to make sure it's safe. I know I keep reiterating it, but it's very important. To start this project, we had to prep. We gathered the microbes. We made sure we had enough to inoculate. We grew them on potato mashed agar, where we quantified them. In order to quantify them, we grew it on that potato mashed agar, and we put it into a stock. We put it into that stock and we diluted it and we plated it across several plates. You can see me plating it on the top image. And if you look at the bottom image, all the way to the left, you can see it full of microbes, very full. And then as you continue to move towards the right, my right, your left, and you can see that the numbers are starting to deplete. So I choose a plate that's rather in the middle so I can count it out, because could you imagine me counting the very last plate? Like, there's thousands of them. I count it out and I do my math to backtrack how many spores were originally in my stock. Once I find out how many spores are originally in my stock, now I know how much I can implement into the soil. This is how I found out how many CFUs, which are colony forming units, so how many original spores I had in my stock to put into the carrot. So now that we have our stock and we have our Streptomyces, now we need to put this into action. In order to do so, we made a 50-50 mix of soil, where 50% of it was peat moss to soften the soil up, and the other 50 was field soil from our field out here in Shafter. We mixed them up, we sterilized it. We also got some PVC pipes and we cut them in half and sterilized them. At the end of the PVC pipes, we tied it off with cheesecloth. I know this is a lot of information, but it's coming up soon. I'm going to get to the point, I promise. After that was done, then we used the PVC pipe as a planter. This is very important, so that way we can constantly view the plant to make sure there is no harm to the Streptomyces at any stage. Each plot received 50 million CFUs, and we began with 2 strains out of the 4, GM 1872 and GM 1846. We are still under growth. They just actually have reached their true leaves, where I believe we're on week 2 or week 3, and we will cut their true leaves down to make sure, because I'm sorry, y'all. We planted more carrots than necessary to ensure there was growth. I planted about 3 to 4 seeds each, because what if only one germinates, you know? So I need to make sure I have some growth. So once we see that they germinated, their true leaves are there, we will count how many seedlings we have, and then we'll break it down to only 1. So only 1 carrot will be growing per PVC2. We will observe them weekly. We will use the PVC pipes, because remember, we cut them in half. We'll take them into our sterile hood, and we'll be able to open the PVC pipes and observe the roots weekly to see if Streptomyces has caused any harm to it at any stage. We will continue this all the way through week 16, which is normal harvesting time, to ensure that there is no harm. And our hope is that there is no harm to the Streptomyces, so that we can use it in our biocontrol. That is how we are testing our Streptomyces treatment. Now we're going to go into our pathogenicity assay. What is a pathogenicity assay? A pathogenicity assay is tested to use a specific organism like Pythium violi can cause the actual disease in real plants under lab conditions. This is important because we cannot test if Streptomyces is causing any harm, is protecting the carrot from cavity spot, if we cannot ensure that there is an actual pathogen. We're going to start with method A. Within this, remember I told you guys we completed 2 methods from a paper by Seufert and Montfort. They had 2 methods. Method B did not produce the cavity spot as well as method A and C. So we will continue with method A and C. This is how we method A is a soil to root infection. So that means that Pythium was introduced to the soil and then will travel to the root of the carrot to infect it. So that is what we're trying to induce here in the lab, and this is how it's done. First, we will grow Pythium on carrot juice agar for 7 days. While we're doing that, we will also simultaneously prep the soil with that 50-50 mix I talked to you guys about earlier. And then once the 7 days are up, we will prepare the carrot juice agar for inoculation. So what we do is we take these agar plates and we cut them up into fine fragments, and we will introduce that into the soil. First, we pot 15 centimeters of sterile soil, and then the next 5 centimeters are inoculated with the carrot juice agar that we that we chopped up into fragments, and then we layer and sprinkle on top with about 2 to 3 centimeters of that top sterile soil to plant the carrot seeds in. Then we will maintain them by watering them with 50 milliliters of water every other day. About at week 12 is when we harvest the carrots to see if there was any cavity spot. Now, we do have some results. Within method A, only a few carrots, out of all the carrots that we tested, only a few had symptoms of cavity spot. So in order to confirm that this is carrot cavity spot, because our friends at UCANR said those look like symptoms, we were really excited. So we cut out the cavity spot and we placed it into an agar plate and we hoped for growth. Unfortunately, there was no growth. After several days, we went back to observe our plates and all we seen was the carrot that we cut out. So unfortunately, this means that there was a low infection rate for method A and inactive lesions. So this means we need to redo method A. We need to fine tweak it to see how we can continue to get this constant cavity spot. But for now, we'll move on to method C. Is this a better method to get this continuous infection? However, remember method A, I told you it was a soil to root infection. Method C, we are doing a root to root infection. In order to do this root to root infection, we have a certain setup. As you can see here, we place the PVC pipe into the pot and we plotted the sterile 50-50 mix around it. Afterwards, we evenly spread out the carrot seeds, as you can see here, and they were about 24 centimeters apart. So that way a donor carrot can replace the PVC pipe in order to spread that pythium. After 12 weeks of the carrots growing, the PVC pipe will be removed and replaced with a donor carrot. The donor carrot will remain in the pot for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, the carrot will be removed and replaced with sterile soil and allowed to be grown a week more. And then we will view them to see if there is cavity spot. Within our paper, it had shown that method C had produced a lot more cavity spot compared to method A. So we're really hoping for method C to come through for us. However, there's still some things we need to do. I know you're dying. Like, what is this donor carrot she keeps talking about? Well, the donor carrot is going to have pythium all over it. So in order to get that, we need to have a couple of practices because perfection doesn't just come. So what we do is we pour that carrot juice agar out onto our plate and we inoculate it with pythium. This small plate that you see in the second picture is the pythium previously grown. It is plated and it is let grown for 7 days. Afterwards, we place fresh, clean carrots onto the pythium and allow it to grow. I know it's really hard to see. I don't know why I thought we had a bigger screen, but if you look closely to our bottom picture, you can see the pythium starting to attach to this donor carrot. This has made me so excited, like to see the actual results. Like, cause I kind of feel like a grower, you know, I'm just staring at the carrot tops like, do you have cavity spot? Like what's going on? But here I could physically see something happen. I could see the bacteria attaching to the carrot. So once we have confirmed that these lesions are made, we will insert this carrot and replace it with the PVC pipes in hope that will allow that root to root spread that I was discussing before. Now that we hit the pathogenicity assay and the streptomyces treatment, we can bring it all together with the biocontrol. Our biocontrol assay, we will take the growth assessment from the streptomyces because now we know, well, we're hoping to know that the streptomyces causes no harm to the carrot at any stage. Then we will take our confirmed method that we found for our pathogen assay, maybe method C, we have hopes, and we will combine those together to make our biocontrol assay. We will continue to treat them as normal, water them every other day. If it's method C, replace the PVC pipe with the donor carrot and hope for that transmission. And then we will evaluate the carrots. We will have a control where there is no where there's no growth, I believe, where there's no Pythium placed in it, and then we'll have, or where there is Pythium and no Streptomyces. I'm so sorry. There's Pythium, no Streptomyces, and then we'll have another one where there is Streptomyces and Pythium. We will be able to compare these results and say, is Streptomyces really creating a difference, or is it giving the same result as Pythium? And this is how we will be able to assess our biocontrol assay. The take-home message. Carrot relevance. I want you guys to leave and understand that we are the carrot capital. We are making a difference with these carrots. We are providing a big impact on Kern County and California and the states alone. I mean, we make a large amount of California's carrots, and California was shown to make 85% of US carrots. However, we do need to keep in mind these diseases and the challenges that we come with them. That's why we're focusing on cavity spot. If we are producing these large amounts of carrots and it's causing such an impact on our society, on our economy, how are we going to let them to continue to get disease? It is going to start to impact us more and more as we grow. This biocontrol progress, we are working on the Streptomyces and to ensure that they do not cause any harm and that the pathogen is infecting the carrot, so that way we can combine these two treatments. Once we combine them and we do a full biocontrol test, this will lay ground for future fields where we can maybe one day take the Streptomyces and inoculate it into the field and start to control cavity spot through this natural biocontrol. I would like to give a special thanks to the Francis Lab for constant mentorship and assistance. I would like to give a thank you to the Grimm Family Center for Agriculture and Business for their constant support, and Dr. Sidhu and Jed Du Bois from UCANR for their guidance and support as well. These are my references. Do we have any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to Dr. Francis' lab, I don't trust carrots. I eat them very suspiciously, so thank you for that.
If they're distributed 9 times out of 10, they're good.
That's what they tell me until they have a recall. But any questions, comments, or thoughts?
So out of all this work, how are we going to be able to treat carrots in the field? Like, what is like the end result that you're hoping to be able to do?
We're hoping to be able to inoculate Streptomyces into the field. So that way they also have spores that can spread like the Pythium. And as they spread throughout the field, they will spread just like the Pythium. And we hope for them to stop as well.
How would it be done in the field? How would it be done in the field? Are we talking like just run some equipment and just spray it on the dirt? Like a water solution with the Streptomyces in it? Or does it need to be tilled into the dirt before the seed is grown?
I cannot give you a confident answer, but I believe so. I believe they will be spread maybe through, because when we inoculate with our Streptomyces, we just do it with our mixture of the stock that we created. And that was made with water and the 25% glycerol. And then we inoculate it that way. So I would assume that we would use something similar. And of course, we would plant before, because we want to make sure that we can try to get this Pythium out. Thank you.
Other questions, thoughts, comments?
I don't bite, guys.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Dr. Hagley, no.
What was like your favorite part about the project and like some of the hardships?
Okay, guys, I'm going to get personal. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I thought I was going to be a nurse, and then I was like, I'm going to be a PA. And then I met Dr. Francis, and it was just such a blessing to be able to get into her lab. And so I really enjoyed being under the mentorship of her. In the lab, I think the part that I enjoyed the most was just learning all the techniques. Like, everything is so valuable. Like, who would have knew that I'm like up here telling you how to make stocks and CFUs and stuff like that. And one of the hardships is the waiting, like anticipation. Like, what do you mean that I need to wait 16 weeks to see if I have cavity spot? I just planted it 2 days ago. And I've always heard that is, the biggest downfall. And I heard that, it's hard when you get a fail. But, even though our lesions were inactive, it did make me sad, but it shows that we are doing something. There was symptoms of cavity spot. It is working in a way. We just have some trials to overcome. Thank you.
Okay, so my question is, I also work in carrot studies. So I work with mycorrhizal fungi, so they benefit the carrots, but it's fungi. So you're working with a bacteria that produces antimicrobial, so it's affecting. I know it's not a true fungi; it's a water mold. But do you know the chemical that it kind of produces? If there's studies going on, because if I'm trying to benefit carrots using a fungus, but this kind of inhabits fungal growth, do you know if there's any correlation with that, or if the chemical will be detrimental to my studies?
I hope I'm not sharing too much information, Dr. Francis, but if you look at the name of our species, sorry, I'm going to go back so we can have a reference. They are named based off of how they are found. So we have this cool project, and you see GM 1846. We have this cool project in our bio class, in our Gen Micro class, and we get some soil, and we're gonna dilute it and make it happen and plate it. And if you look, there's an arrow that's pointing to the streptomyces. It's found from local areas. So this is what we did in the lab, and she took one of her previous grad students took all those streptomyces that they found in the lab. It was over 100. I commend her. Over 100, and she tested them against Pythium over and over again. And that's how we got these results. These were our 4 strongest streptomyces that we found from the lab, which came from our local environment. So we have not yet identified them. That's why they are numbered GM18 or GM, Gen Micro 18, 2018, and then the number that they are. So we don't know exactly what species. We just know that they are streptomyces and that they do cause this inhibition. I believe that will be a goal of ours as well, though.
Oh.
Hey, speaking of the inhibition zone, do you know what molecule or group of molecules that is causing it to inhibit the pathogen you're trying to get rid of?
Not yet. I believe that is another thing under research as well right now.
Because I know the chemistry program, we might be able to figure that out.
I believe we are collaborating with Dr. Solano's lab to find out what that may be. Thank you. Shame, because I know you guys.
So how did you decide what strain you were going to use? Because you said that all of those showed that zone of inhibition, but you only did 2 of them that you actually, I guess, tested. So how did you decide which ones to use?
Randomly. No,
Okay.
Really it was. We do plan on testing all 4 species. However, due to limited supplies and the space that we have in the lab, it's just best to conduct 2 at a time. Once we finish observing these 2 strains, I believe it is 46 and 72. Once we complete those 2, we will go on and do the same to 83 and 150. Because what if one streptomyces may cause harm, but the other doesn't?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.